boogity, boogity, get up on your feet.
Hello. Yeah, you missed me, haven't you? It's been a while since we did a DW show, but here we are, and really and truly kind of took a little time off to kind of see how things were gonna play out. There's a lot of changes going on, man. You know, crew chief changes and drivers getting fired and sponsors leaving and coming and going, and so there's just an incredible amount of stuff happening in the sport right now, and a lot of it, folks, it hadn't even happened yet. There's people still in the wings waiting to see where Greg Zipadelli, for instance, is he going to end up with Tony Stewart like we all think he is? I think he will, but hadn't been made official yet. Steve Addington going over there, Darian Grubb going to Denny Hamlin. These are things that are, it's the same, you know, here's the funny thing. It's the same people. That's why I call it as the wheel turns. You know, this player is now going to go and be over here with this player, and this player is going to be, but it's the same group of people. But what you're looking for is what we're all looking for: compatibility, chemistry. You know, love it, a little love, a little, I love you, man, kind of thing, instead of come on, man. So that's kind of what's going on right now. And then there's the NASCAR side of things. They're not sitting still either. They're looking at making some significant rule changes for the Daytona 500 restrictor plate races. They're talking about taking the rear spoiler, and remember that big old rear spoiler back there. That's what keeps the cars that's what keeps the cars stuck to the track. That's the downforce. It goes over the front or over the top, and it hits that big spoiler, pushes the back down. That gives you a lot of security. Makes the car pretty easy to drive, really, at Daytona, particularly where you run wide open. But what they're talking about doing is decreasing the size of that rear spoiler, cutting it down. And when you say, why would they do that? Well, I said the same thing. But here's why. Because the drivers are complaining about when we're pushing each other, when we're running so close together, we sit down in the car, can't see over the spoiler. We can't see through the car to see what's ahead. And I understand that, because that's part of driving. You always look, when you're following someone, you're always looking through his car to see what's up ahead. The big spoiler back there, the drivers say, you know, with the tandem racing, they can't see far enough ahead. So because of that, they've had to go to these multi-channel radios so that they can talk to each other. Sounds like air traffic control. It drives me nuts. You know, all the chatter from one driver to another. You know that old thing, old word I always like to use, coopetition? They've taken it to a whole new level. Because when a Chevy driver's talking to a Ford driver driver talking to a Toyota driver, everybody's talking to everybody. You want to run with me? No, I'm running with him. You want to go over here? No, I'm going to go over there. Hey, get ready to turn here. We're going to turn there. Give me a break. So NASCAR has decided that they're going to limit the amount of radio channels you can have in your radio to one, which is what it's always been. It wasn't up until multi-car teams that we ever really started even having another channel in our radio. Because we all, you know, multi-car team, teammates, you might want to communicate a little bit. But it got out of hand, like everything does. It starts off, it's you know, you give these guys that much and they'll take it to a whole new level. These are creative, smart guys. So the radio thing got out of hand. I mean, you had knobs on your dash, 21 different drivers you could talk to. Ridiculous. So NASCAR is going to lower the spoiler down. That way the driver can see through the car up ahead, and he won't have the complaint as well. I need to be able to talk to the guy so I know where we're going. And the other thing it'll do, listen, racing is spontaneous. It happens as it happens. You don't orchestrate a race. You don't orchestrate what you're going to do on the racetrack. All we ever had back in the day were hand signals. Look, come on, let's go. No, hold right there. I like where we are. Or single file. Come on, let's stay single file. Hey, I'm going that way. I'm going that way. That's all we ever had. And so that made racing unpredictable. Racing is supposed to be unpredictable, right? You don't want to know what somebody's going to do. Jeff Gordon would have never gotten mad at Trevor Bayne if he couldn't talk to him. If he couldn't talk to Trevor Bayne, he wouldn't have known what Trevor Bayne was going to do. And when Trevor went with Matt Kenseth, Jeff said, whoop, picked the wrong guy. But instead, oh God, Trevor Bayne's a bad boy. He jumped, he left Jeff Gordon sitting out there by himself. That's not the way racing's supposed to be. So I like, you're going to have one channel on your radio. You can talk to your crew chief and your spotter. That's it. And that's the way it ought to be. That way it puts it back, it'll make racing better. Instead of orchestrating and figuring things out, figure it out on your own. What the driver's supposed to do. Use your own head. Use your own mind. And don't listen to what everybody else is doing. Just make your own decision and then go with it. It'll make the racing more exciting. So, a little less spoiler. That car is going to, now that could have an unintended consequence. I like that. I like that. So, it kind of always shows how smart I am when I use terms like unintended consequence, the blind obvious. Oh, those are just things, that I can wrap my arms around. And then, of course, there's those conspiracy theories, the helicopters that are always, God, they drive me crazy. Anyway, I digress. Where was I? Oh, yeah. The not talking to other drivers will make the racing better. And the unintended consequence of that spoiler being cut down, that's going to make that car a little harder to drive. That's going to make that thing a little looser, particularly at Daytona. You got somebody laid up against your back bumper pushing you off in the corner a lot faster than you really want to go, and you don't have the rear downforce back there, and that thing gets a little squirrely, that could be problematic for everybody. So I'm okay with the radios. I'm a little concerned about the spoiler. I understand why they're doing it. Makes sense. Anyway, those are just a couple of items that are on the burner right now. Still got testing to do. Got January testing coming up. Some of these theories and some of these changes will be proven out. They're talking about making the cars where they'll qualify faster. 178 mile an hour at Daytona. The Cup cars are the slowest cars there. They need to go a little bit faster qualifying. They're racing at over 200 mile an hour. Why are they qualifying at 178 or 80 mile an hour? Give me a break. Make qualifying exciting. I like to hear those motors come off the corner, don't you? Ah! Man, I love it when they do that. That's racing right there. By the way, here's a thought for you. You know what a genius is? It's a man with common sense and working clothes. Just thought I'd drop that in. I'll try to do that every now and then. See you next time.